Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Drake's Corner podcast. As you can see, no background, nothing to deal with. We're not in the normal studio. I am. My room's it's a shithole. I'm just gonna say that right now. It's not looking good, and I was not comfortable in there. I'm like claustrophobic almost. I can't be in my element with like a lot around. Okay, yeah, my room's dirty. I'm just gonna say it. But hey, if I might like it out here, if I get more views just by doing this, I might stick to it. I know you guys like the normal setup and with the little screen up top, the sneaker, but we gotta make things. We gotta make ends meet. We have a lot on the table today. Donovan Mitchell just got traded to the Cavs. The college football playoffs had a very big announcement about 2 hours ago. And I'll have my finale of the show, the NFL playoff prediction with the seeded teams, all that jazz. And I'm going to give my prediction there for the upcoming season. Starting off with the show, Donovan Mitchell to the Cavs. What do I think about that? Personally, I think the Jazz have executed a perfect rebuild, with trading Gobert, trading Donovan Mitchell. It obviously wasn't working. They did it at the right time where their trade value was obviously extremely high. I think the Jazz, securing 8 combined first-round picks from the T-Wolves and Jazz combined, they know exactly what they're doing. It was the smartest, way to go about it. I saw the Knicks. The one wrong thing they did, I saw the Knicks offer that they sent out to the Jazz for Donovan Mitchell. They could have had R.J. Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, Obi Toppin, and 3 first-round picks. That's what they missed out on, I will say. I don't think the return haul they got from Cleveland was, as extensive as it could have been from New York. I think, Colin Sexton, Ochai Agbaji, 3 first-round picks. I don't think that, compares to what the Knicks could have gave them. But I do not see the Cavs being a top contender in the East, even with Spida, even with Donovan Mitchell, okay? I still see the Bucks, the Celtics, the Sixers, and even the Hawks ahead of them. I think the Hawks have a better backcourt. They still have John Collins. They're due. Okay, same with the Sixers. I think the Sixers are actually due for a championship upcoming. I think the duo of Harden and Embiid will pay off. I think it's the most. I personally think it's the most dynamic 1-2 punch in the game. Okay, you can't go wrong with it. I'm huge on Harden. I love Harden's gameplay. How he's changed it in Philly from going from the top scorer to kind of just a playmaking guard. But that's exactly what they needed with Embiid being the main guy, and Harden's in tip-top shape. The Celtics, obviously, young, running like a bull right now, and the Bucks, obviously, they have the best player in the world. But Donovan Mitchell to the Cavs, what I really see it as an upgrade from Colin Sexton. That's about it. Colin Sexton put up, close to 20 points a game last year. Donovan Mitchell now, obviously a superstar. The Cavs have a superstar now, but I see them as a 5 or 6 seed in the East. I see the East still being very close. You even got the Heat in there too. I still see the East, being a level-headed playing field. But Donovan Mitchell, I don't think it makes a crazy difference to the Cavs. I think he's a superstar. I don't think he's a game changer though. But the Jazz, on the other hand, hats off to the Jazz for a perfect rebuild. I'll give that to them. 8 first-round picks from, the Wolves and Jazz combined. They got 5 for Gobert, now 3 from Cleveland. So the Jazz doing a rebuild, right? Take notes, other teams. By the time I'm 25, I'm sure the Jazz will be a top team in the West, considering what they just got hauled back from these teams. Those are my thoughts. I don't think I saw a poll on Twitter earlier. It was who's a better backcourt, Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, or DeJounte Murray or Trae Young. And I still see, the Hawks backcourt, Murray and Trae Young being a better backcourt. Okay, I think Trae Young is, kind of on that same skill level as Donovan Mitchell, but I think DeJounte Murray is a superstar in it of himself. So, the East is very competitive, and the Cavs are just doing what they can. They were a play-in team last year, and now they attract a superstar, but I just don't see it jumping from, play-in level to over the top, top of the East type deal. I don't see it. I personally don't. I was going to compare it with the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies didn't really do many changes with their roster from going from a play-in team to a 2 seed in the West. They just, develop their players right. But the Cavs pick up a superstar. Like I said, 5 or 6 seed in the East. Enough with that. I think the headlines from that: Jazz secure perfect rebuild, Cavs secure Donovan Mitchell and give up half their future. That's about it from there. Let's jump over to the college football playoffs. They're going to 12 teams in 2026. I've been saying this for a while. I've been on this, I've been kind of on that 8-team realm where I want 8 teams in the college football playoffs instead of 4. I think 4, everybody can agree 4 is not enough. But they did the right thing. They're going to 12 teams. It's perfect for the sport. It's going to add so much more competitive nature instead of these meaningless bowl games. I'm sick of these meaningless bowl games. There's just too many just sponsor bowl games that nobody gives a rat's ass about, okay? And they don't mean anything. There's no championships. Sure, you have those old bowl games that mean a lot, like the Orange Bowl, Rose Bowl, and those have been kind of affiliated with the college football playoff games. But, like the Outback Bowl, just some of these bowls that I couldn't give 2 shits about. It just doesn't add any flair to the sport, okay? And college sports deserves to have, kind of a fight for the championship. And March Madness does it perfectly. Obviously, you can't do. I mean, you could, but I just think the players would be worn out in a 64-team tournament, and that'd be absolutely ridiculous. I expect also conferences to be downsized by, by 2026, maybe 4 top conferences instead of, you have Big 12, Pac-12, Big 10, ACC, SEC. I could go on with these conferences, and I just think a lot of those conferences are going to be, flushed away. And, teams like UCLA are already making the jump to the Big Ten, USC making the jump to the Big Ten. Give it 4 years, we're going to see a lot of these. I think Pac-12 will be demolished by then. I think you're really going to have Big 10, Big 12, SEC, ACC, and, independent teams like Notre Dame hopping in, USC making the jump, UCLA obviously. And I think we're going to see, a lot more teams in these conferences, and it's going to put a lot more emphasis into conference play, into, they're just going to add new rivalries, et cetera, et cetera. I think, going to this 12-team basis will make the season a lot more competitive, and we could see, 3 teams out of these top 4 conferences making the playoffs and, just making season play just a lot more interesting. And I think, every game could possibly be a rivalry game in these new conferences. So, it's 4 years away. It's a long time. We'll see. I love the 12-team thing. I've been saying 8 for a while, but, 12 works too. This just adds more competitiveness. I love it. It adds more, I just feel like it's going to add a lot more, culture to the game almost. I like it a lot. Let's jump to the finale of the show, the NFL playoff prediction. It's never too early for these. I have mine right here, and I'm going to read it off, going through, give a summary of what I think. Let's start off with the AFC, and we're going to jump in hot here. Starting off at the 1 seed, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay, a lot of people are saying Bills. Don't get me wrong, Bills are amazing. They're probably the Super Bowl favorite. Chargers, on the other hand, Herbert's developing. We know Herbert's going to be a top quarterback this year, quite possibly MVP. The only thing wrong with their team last year, probably defensively, and, getting protection for Justin Herbert, which they have now. And they also have defense. They've made 2 big splashes in free agency, acquiring J.C. Jackson, one of the top corners in the league, and Khalil Mack, obviously, who's going to be a monster, who's been a monster his whole career. And, if he can stay healthy, this defense is going to be leveling. They got the pass rush, they got the secondary covered, and they have a surefire offense. I see them as a regular season machine, okay? And there's no reason they shouldn't be a 1 seed. I'm not saying by these playoff predictions who's going to the Super Bowl. I'm saying who's, going to be seeded where. Okay, number 2, I had the Bills. Same deal as last year. They're machine. Josh Allen is going to be obviously solid. They didn't really change much besides adding Von Miller, another pass rusher. So they've only gotten better, and I see them, being that strong 2 seed close to the Chargers. Number 3, this is where it gets interesting. We have to have 4 conference winners and then 3 wild card teams, obviously. 3, I have the Ravens winning the their conference. And I think Lamar Jackson is going to have an outstanding year. They didn't really change much besides, giving up a receiver. But I think, I think Lamar Jackson's going to have another MVP-esque season. And Rashad Bateman, they're at the receiver spot. He's out to prove something. J.K. Dobbins is back. They're going to have their run game back. They're going to look a lot like how they did 2 years ago, in my opinion. Okay, and they have that same defense. They're poised. They're ready to come out. And, I don't think the Bengals are going to, the whole Bengals deal is, hard for my mind to grasp because they were so good in the playoffs. Regular season, no one was predicting them to do anything. But I feel like a lot of luck came out of the Bengals playoff run, and I don't see them making the playoffs this year. I don't see the Bengals. Their offense is surefire. Joe Burrow's awesome, but they didn't really do much O-line-wise to help get him protection, and their defense is still mids. I'm not going to lie. It was all game-time situational stuff, and that's the reason why they made the Super Bowl. I feel like a lot of luck went their way. I'm going to be honest. Number 4, the Titans in the last conference seed there. I think, I think it's kind of a weak conference. I'm not going to lie. I could see the Colts, being a standby team there, but I think the Titans will come out on top. They have the best safety in the game. They have a top defense. Harold Landry just suffered a torn ACL, but I think, if Derrick Henry stays healthy, this team's going to win 10 games. They're all about the run. They have a solid defense. They're going to pick up someone else for the pass rush. Things will be fine for them. I don't see them going far in the playoffs, though. Outside of sorry. 1 second. There we go. Outside of conference play, at the 5 seed, I have the Raiders, okay? I think a lot of people put, the Broncos with Russell Wilson there. And I'm not seeing it with the Broncos as much as I am with the Raiders. They have 3 receiver threats, 2 of them who should be double-teamed every time. I see, Derek Carr is obviously a very solid quarterback, and I feel like this is the year for their offense to explode. I could see them winning maybe 11 or 12 games. They're going to be a wild card spot because I think the Chargers will have up on them. But I do see the Raiders being a solid team. But they'll be a wild card team because of the Chargers. But, yeah, same with the Chiefs. I have them at number 6. It's Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the game. I think, with the loss of Tyreek Hill, they're still going to have their receiver threats. They picked up Juju, great acquisition. And, I see the Chiefs. God, it's tough with them. How much will Tyreek Hill mean to them? That's what it's going to be like. But their defense did make a presence kind of last season. They started to pick up the defensive haul. In the beginning of the season, it wasn't too strong, but they started to pick it up towards the end of the year. And I see it carrying over into next year. So that conference there with the Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos, I see 3 of those teams coming out in the playoffs. So, yeah. Let's jump over to the NFC. Number 1 seed Rams. They're going to run it back. Nothing much has really changed. They were the most dominant team in football last year, and I expected to be that way, no question. Number 2, Eagles. I have the Eagles having an outstanding year. I think their offense is going to be absolutely exceptional. They were great on the defensive end. Jalen Hurts is going to have a breakout season, possibly MVP. Their O-line is exceptional. They're going to have a great run game, great pass game. Their offense is going to go nuts. That's my prediction for them. Number 3 seed, I got the Vikings. I think the Vikings will, under that new offensive coordinator from the Rams now as their head coach, I think the Vikings are going to be an offensive machine. And I think guys like Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, even Dalvin Cook, they're all going to have new roles. And I think these roles are going to be more modernized rather than, what they were doing last year, not taking risks. I think they're going to run a lot of RPOs and get guys open. I expect them to win 12 games possibly. Number 4, the Bucks. I see them finishing maybe 11-6, 10-7 range. It's just Brady's age. I'm not gonna lie, and their defense is. They have names, but they don't perform up to par every single time. And I'm just not sold on them. I'm not sold on the Bucks overall. It's Tom Brady. We love the whole superstar. Get every superstar you can in. But it's most likely Brady's last year. I'm just not sold on it. I'm not sold. The best team outside of the conference winners, I have the Cowboys. They lost a top receiver. and Amari Cooper over the offseason, but I still see their, CD making a big step here, Michael Gallup, guys like that. Tony Pollard is one of those guys, too, who I also see being a strong, offensive threat. I think the Cowboys will still have that same type of surefire power offense they had last year, and I expect them to make the playoffs. I don't expect them to go far, but I expect them to make the wild card, in that conference. 6 Cardinals. I think Kyler's poised for a breakout year. And I expect, once Hopkins comes back, they're going to be maybe one of the top offenses in the league. They still have their same defense from last year. They have a lot of big names, and I see them, finishing that 6th seed spot, wild card. They could go on a run here, depending, they were a strong regular season team last year, and towards the end they just kind of dwindled away. And we saw, who really were the top dogs, and I think the Cardinals, they could put that, regular season prowess into the playoffs next year. They could be a top wildcard team. At number 7, last but not least, I hate to say it, but the last NFC wildcard team, the Green Bay Packers, okay? It's Aaron Rodgers. Whenever Aaron Rodgers is, playing a full regular season, I expect, them to make the playoffs and quite possibly another MVP year. I don't want to see it. They lost Devontae Adams, though, so I don't fully expect it, but they're not going to do as good as they did last year, obviously, because of less receiving threats. But the Packers' defense, keep an eye on them. They're kind of a dark horse defense, I see. They have a great front 7. Jair Alexander, one of the top corners in the league. I think their defense could be solid. I really do. So I don't think they'll do as good in the regular season as last year, but yeah. We shall see. Those are my NFL playoff, seeding predictions. Those are the teams I think, I have 2 not in there that were in the title games last year. You got the Bengals in the Super Bowl and the 49ers. I don't see them, I don't think Trey Lance is going to live up to hype. I really don't. And I see them, the 49ers, finishing outside of the playoffs. They were in the conference championship game last year too. I know their defense is solid, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Yeah, so I don't see the Bengals making it, and I don't see the 49ers making it. But, things change. You never know. You can never predict these. I don't think a lot of people were predicting the Bengals to be in the Super Bowl last year, so we shall see, though. It'll be fun. It's going to be a fun time. I think it's very even right now, NFL-wise, with talent, and it's very good for the sport. Same with NBA, too. When you have a superstar trade like that, sorry to just completely switch sports, but when you have an NBA trade like that, as hype as Donovan Mitchell, and the team, prediction goes from, a play-in team to just a 7 seed. In my opinion, the NBA is at a perfect even level playing field. Same with the NFL. It's a great time. Yeah. So next time I'll see you, probably the season will be started. I hope you guys, have a good time with your fantasy football teams. Have a good time watching the games upcoming on Sunday. And, yeah, I'll see you guys next time on the podcast edition of my channel. And, yeah, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Peace.